Codemotion Milan 2015. My most warm welcome goes to Birgitta Boeckeler. Welcome, Birgitta.
Thank you.
Birgitta has been our amazing keynote speaker yesterday during the opening of the Codemotion conferences, and she talked about how a programmer looks like. So, what is a programmer, and how does it look like? Just like a nerd?
Well, so I was basically speaking about how maybe history might have shaped our image of programmers and what they look like and what they like and how they behave. And how maybe it's time now, after 50 years since the 60s, to kind of break up that image and challenge the maybe biased images in our heads and accept that anybody can be a programmer regardless of if they like science fiction or not, or yeah.
We, Codemotion, work very much to grow the movement of the women in tech, because really we need to remember that the first programmer in the story was probably Ada Lovelace, so he was a woman, she was a woman, and but the question of the gender in tech is always a very difficult problem to talk about. What do you think, and how can we try to do something to make this situation better?
So, well, I guess I'm not an expert on diversity and how to increase it, because my main job is a technologist. I'm a developer, and so it would probably be better to ask one of our recruiters, for example, in my company, how you could increase this. But one thing that I really believe is that a good step is always if people in your company really believe that diversity is something to get to, and that it gives us something positive, and that it increases creativity and all those things. And if everybody in the company believes that it's not just something to check off a list for the company in general, then I think that's already a great first step.
I think that one of the most interesting things that you say yesterday is the fact that a developer is not something or someone who is born as a developer, but someone who is trained to be a developer. There's no an attitude, is a work, a job.
Yeah, so this came kind of from the 60s as well, I think. So or even before that, 40s and 50s. So first, when people figured out that programming is actually something hard to do and it's not as easy as they maybe expected, they had to find a lot of programmers. They had to figure out, how do we find these people that can be good programmers without even having formal training, like computer science or something like that didn't even exist at the time. So how do you find these people? And it was also such a weird job. Every computer kind of had their own little idiosyncrasies, and the programmers had to figure out how to work with them. So this perception got born that, it is something like a black art, or you have to be born for it. And somehow we've never really let go of this completely until today. And I think it's especially true for people outside the industry who see programmers and they think it's like magic and it's very hard to learn. And there's also this perception that you have to be this brilliant genius to do it. But I definitely don't think that's the case. It's like a profession like any other that you can be trained to learn.
A very creative job. This is very important to say, is that every woman who want to try could, because she has nothing less than the man. This is definitely she could learn, and is creative.
And actually, so when I was a kid, I was very much into arts and crafts and things like that. And when I first learned to program, I felt that it was actually quite similar. So I always had to kind of figure out how to do things, and sometimes it was very detail oriented, and I had to sit for like an hour or two to figure it out. And it very much reminded me of like arts and crafts, where I was doing these little things all over again until I had like my work results. So it actually reminded me a lot of that.
There is another particular of your speech that really touched me. The fact that at the very beginning the software was free, generally speaking, was free, because nobody would like to buy, to spend money, to give value, so definitely, to a software written by a woman.
Well, not written by a woman, but in general, in the beginnings of computers, like 40s, 50s, 60s, everybody had this assumption that the hardware is the thing that's really hard to do. So, and they didn't really look at the software part of things at first because they thought, yeah, it's this additional thing that will sort itself out. And that's why initially with the hardware you often got the software for free. But what you're referring to is actually that I gave the example of Steve Shirley, who kind of founded one of the first startups ever in the UK in the 60s. And at the time, actually, she was one of the first to say, okay, I want you to pay money for software that me and my team are building. And her team was actually exclusively women who were working from home. And so that was kind of a quote from her who said, nobody wanted to pay money for software, and certainly not to a woman. Yeah, so because at the time it was quite unusual. That's actually why she changed her name at the time from Stephanie to Steve, so that at least when she was sending out letters to get new clients, they wouldn't just dismiss them immediately because of the name Stephanie.
We as Codemotion strongly support the women involvement in tech. We do many activities to help women to get involved and to step in, definitely. What would you like to suggest to a girl or a young woman who would like to be to start this job?
So I would just like to say that I really love my job. I've been doing it for 10 years professionally now, and I still believe that it's a job that I might be able to enjoy for the rest of my working life. So it's an amazing job, and if you start in this and maybe get discouraged by things like people telling you, oh, you don't look like a programmer or things like that, maybe try to look for women that are doing this job already around you, and try to get support from them, and don't get discouraged by that, because I think we're on a good way and it's getting better.
So we can say definitely that a programmer could look like you?
Well, I mean, I am a programmer, so apparently I do look like one, hopefully.
Whoa! Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Birgitta, and we really enjoy to have you here.
Thank you.